what is 19 thousands plus 7 tens? First, let's think about what are 19 thousands and what are 7 tens, and then from there we can add them. So 19 thousands would quite literally be if we had 1,000 19 times. So there's 1,000 one time. If we had 1,000 two times, we would have 2,000. If we had 1,000 three times, we would have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. And the pattern here should be pretty clear. If we had 19 thousands or 1,000 19 times, we would have 19,000. So 19 thousands is literally 19 thousands. And then 7 tens, same thing. We could have 7 tens. We could have 10 7 times. So 10 plus another 10 plus another 10. And this one's a little simpler to do than the 19. We only have to list 7 tens this time. That's 6 tens and there's 7 tens. So 7 tens would be literally 7 tens. Or 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So 7 tens is 70. And then if we wanted to combine these or add these, we would have 19 thousands, 0 hundreds, the 7 tens, and 0 ones, or 19,070. We could have also thought about that question in terms of place value. Instead of listing out all the thousands and listing out all the tens, we could have thought of the place values. We had 19 thousands, which means we want our last digit, the 9, to be in the thousands place value. And then the other digit, we had 1, would go in front of it. So this is read 19 thousands. And by writing that thousands there, we covered all these empty place values, or the 3 zeros we ended up adding. The thousands can be represented by these 3 zeros at the end. Whereas 7 tens, we put a 7 in the tens place. And again, we have an empty place value behind it. We had no ones with it. The tens, by saying tens, we implied this 0 after it. So the thousands added these 3 zeros to the end, and 7 tens added 1 0 to the end. And again, if we combined them, like we saw on the previous one, we'd have 19,000, 0 hundreds, and 7 tens. So either way, whether we list out what 19 thousands is literally with 19 thousands, or 7 tens literally 10 7 times, or we look at it in terms of place value and add the zeros on the end, either way our solution will be 19,070. Here's one more. We have 5 10,000s plus 22 thousands. So 2 ways again we could try to solve this. One, we could think about what are 5 10,000s. If we had 10,000 5 times, another 10,000, another, that's 3, 4 10,000s, and 5 10,000s, that would be a total of 50,000. 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. So 5 10,000s is 50,000. Let's write that up here, 50,000. Plus 22,000s. 22,000s. Remember when we did the 19,000s, if we wrote 1,000, it would be 1,000. If we wrote 1,000 2 times, it would be 2,000s. If we wrote it 22 times, then it would be 22,000s. There would be 22,000s. And we could combine these numbers. 50,000 plus 22,000 will be a total of 72,000. So one way there, that first way we talked about, is to think about what does 5 10,000s look like and what do 22,000s look like to get our numbers and then add them. Or the other way we could solve this is with a place value chart, is thinking about place value. So let's put a place value chart in here. and then put our first number, which was 5 10,000s. So we have 5 in the 10,000s place, 5 10,000s. And we can fill in the zeros behind it in these empty place values. There were no thousands, hundreds, tens, or ones. So for 10,000s, we added 4 zeros behind it. And the other number was 22,000, so 22. We read this as 22,000, always saying the place value of the last non-zero digit we see. So 22 and then 1,000. And then with thousands, like before, we'll add 3 zeros to the end. And finally, when we combine these numbers, when we look at the place values, we now have 7 10,000s. We have 2 thousands, still no hundreds, no tens, and no ones. So our solution for 5 10,000s plus 22 thousands is 72,000.